ESPNLA.com. It's Andy Kamenetzky, co-host of the Lando Lakers blog at ESPNLA.com and ESPNLA On Air, which can be heard on Saturdays at 7:10 ESPN, varying times depending on where USC football and our coverage bumps us. My guest on Trojan Corner, All-American and an academic All-American, I should say, at Nebraska, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, Green Bay Packers, and at one point, your Los Angeles Rams, Vince Ferragamo, joining me. How are you, sir?
Great, Andy. Thank you so much. Good introduction, by the way.
Pardon?
Good introduction, by the way.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. You grew up in the Wilmington-San Pedro area, correct?
Correct. A local guy, about 20 minutes from here at the Coliseum, and it was great. Went to Banning High School, played for my older brother, Chris Ferragamo, who had many years of great teams with Banning High School, so it was fun.
Were you a SC or UCLA fan growing up at all?
You know, growing up, I was a Gary Beeman fan.
Okay.
Back in the day. I hate to say that, but you know, being in Southern California, you either root for the Trojans or for the Bruins, and I was just, Gary Beeman was the Heisman Trophy winner as a quarterback. Liked watching them play and just kind of followed them quite a bit.
Did you debate at all SC or UCLA with those teams in your backyard?
Oh, all the time, all the time. Even growing up as a kid, I thought, well, maybe I'll go to school at UCLA when I'm old enough. But as things have it, I ended up going to a different school. I went to Cal Berkeley, but it worked out fine.
Okay, but I just didn't know if it was difficult. You know, you've got two excellent programs sitting, you know, within grabbing distance. It's got to be tempting.
Well, we had a lot of guys that I graduated with at Banning High School did go to SC, and I would say half of them went to SC, half of them went to UCLA. So that's the kind of that's the kind of impact they had on the local teams in Southern California.
You were a member of the LA Rams when they used to play in this very Coliseum, this building right over there.
Right.
Can you describe what the atmosphere was like during that time?
Oh, it was the best. You walk in through that tunnel, which you still have the same tunnel, and then you come out on the field with, you know, in those days, 80 to 100,000 fans screaming and yelling. There's no thrill like it. And, you know, in college ball, you get that same feeling, but then in the pros, it's a little different. But again, you got that same kind of feeling when you stepped on the field here at the Coliseum.
Did it feel like, this might be a weird question, but an NFL setting versus a college one? Like, can you tell a difference? Is there a carryover with fans?
Well, you're playing on a Sunday as opposed to Saturday, and you know, it's mostly a day off for most people, and then if you're professional ranks, you're working on that Sunday. So in that respect, it's a little different. But again, you're talking about a whole different level of football. You're going from college football to the pros, and it's you're playing against guys that have probably been playing the game for 10, 15, 20 years, some of them. So it's a whole different atmosphere and a different feeling.
Now, when you were with the Rams, you played for a while under current USC AD Pat Hayden, and I know at times it's competitive. You guys are both going after the same thing. What was that relationship like, and I guess what did you learn from playing under Pat Hayden?
Well, I think Pat was a great competitor. He was a Rhodes Scholar, very intelligent, very good leader, a good example setter for most people, and you know, people enjoyed playing on the same team. Pat was a winner, and he knew how to take care of the football, and very smart. So he really understood the game. So, you know, playing with Pat and in competition with Pat, you know, I would learn from my competitor. I learned from the guy playing right alongside me, and I said, well, how do I have to play to get better and to improve my game so that when it's called upon, when it's time for me to contribute to the team, I can do it. And I was lucky. I had a guy like Joe Namath when I first joined the Rams, then Pat Hayden as well, and then, you know, Ron Jaworski left the team, so did James Harris, but gave me the opportunity to step up and be a player for the Rams.
Was it difficult to enter a situation when you've got guys who are established and you know the game well, and that idea that you might have to wait your turn, you know, because you were coming off such a successful career yourself in Nebraska?
Yeah, to upseat somebody who's got experience and who's been playing the game is a difficult undertaking, but as long as you continue to prepare yourself and you get better each and every day, then I think if you're the right guy for the spot and you're the right guy that's going to help the team win, then it's your time to contribute. So you never know when that time is going to come and, you know, when it's going to be like. But, you know, as a professional athlete, you have to prepare yourself each and every week as if you're the starting guy. And then being in Los Angeles, where you always had a quarterback controversy, that really didn't help matters for the starting quarterback, because he would always look over his shoulder and say, well, if I don't play well, then someone else is going to replace me. So, but that was the nature of playing quarterback in Los Angeles.
Knowing Pat back then, could you have seen him ending up in this position as the AD for USC?
Well, he was always, very sharp businessman, and he always did well in business. And I thought that, I loved when he was doing the announcing for commentary and on the ABC and doing the games of the week. Very talented, very good MC, and he was just a natural guy for the job. And if there's anybody else that was more suited for the job, I'd like to see who it was, but nobody more suited than being athletic director as a former alumni as Pat Hayden.
My guest, Vince Ferragamo, quarterback for, at one point, your LA Rams, and depending on the rumor mill, maybe your LA Rams again, depending on how things could turn out. The 79 team that you helped lead to the Super Bowl, you guys only finished 9-7 and didn't necessarily seem like a team that would get that far all the way to the Super Bowl. Like, what was it about that team, do you think, that allowed you guys to get hot at the right time and, I guess, get the mentality needed to capitalize?
Well, I think, in that particular year, the first half of the season was a different, they had different chemistry. They made some mid-season trades and some acquisitions. The chemistry automatically just switched. When I got a chance to start here, and I think the 11th game of the season against Atlanta in the Coliseum on a Monday night game, that's when it all changed.
Right.
And I think that the team took on a different character. It took on a different aura. Of course, every team is led by the quarterback, and then you have a feel of a team based on what the quarterback's able to do on the field. So our team took on a different charisma, because we were able to throw the ball in times and places that we were unable to do that before and make the big play.
How did you handle the process of getting thrust into that role? I mean, 2/3 of the season's been burnt at that point, and it's a different thing for a guy just to all of a sudden be the starting quarterback and having to try to get a team to the finish line.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do, as I mentioned earlier, is the preparation. The first 2 years were always being a preparation to play, and then this was my third year in mid-season. I had 2 really good preseasons the previous 2 years, so I was getting ready to play, and this is what gave me my chance. Sometimes injury will give you a chance. Sometimes someone's poor performance in front of you will give a player a chance to play. And when I got the opportunity to play, I took advantage of it. A lot of it was luck, but a lot of it was the team did respond to my talents, and I think that's what made the biggest difference.
You guys led that game for 3 quarters against the defending Super Bowl champion Steelers, and then eventually the Steelers came back to win. How long does it take, if it can actually happen, to get past that, the idea of a Super Bowl being that close, but it just ending up slipping through the fingers?
I don't think you ever forget that. You can't ever get rid of it or get over it. But I think that at the end of that season, we were kind of the dark horse in the whole playoffs. But people did respect our talents and felt that we could, on any given day, anything can happen. And I think we were the surprise team, the surprise element, and we were able to go pretty far. We were playing our best football at the end of the season, which was a tribute to our team, and that was good timing for us. But to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were a 3-time Super Bowl champion, was a very difficult task at hand. And they had the experience. I think the experience factor and their skill position players was obviously the biggest difference in that game.
Does it become a matter of tightening up? Maybe just you guys are so close to something that you're not used to being in that position.
Well, there's something to be said for an underdog, and you don't have that pressure on you. You just can play loose and just give it everything you have. And if you're the heavy favorite, there is a little extra added pressure that you have to perform well. You have to win this game. So I think we had that to our advantage because we were pretty loose out there. And, no one expected us to win. We thought we could win as our own team. But, as things turned out, they made the big plays at the end of the game that were the result of them winning.
Athletes always say that they don't listen to the media, they don't pay attention to what's said in the newspapers, but were you guys aware that nobody was giving you a chance? I mean, were you reading this stuff?
Oh yeah, we were aware that we were a heavy underdog. We were 11-point underdog, and we had a rookie quarterback playing, and we had a great defense, but on offense we had a strong running game, but that was basically it. And in those days, we were predominantly a running team, so when we were able to throw the ball and throw the ball effectively, that's what really caught a lot of teams off guard and weren't really expecting it.
My guest, Vince Ferragamo, one-time LA Rams quarterback, maybe at some point could be visiting the Los Angeles Rams again, maybe. You never know, could be dropping by a game in the future for the Rams in Los Angeles. The 1980 season, the following one after the Super Bowl appearance, you didn't begin the season as a starter, but you ended up throwing for a franchise record at the time, 30 touchdowns. At the risk of busting out the cliches of being in the zone or whatever, what does that type of groove feel like? How do you describe that type of connection you're having?
Well, that type of success just doesn't happen. I think a lot of it is a team effort, obviously. We had great plays from a lot of our receivers. They were ready to turn it out, and they had been kind of sheltered for so long because they didn't really have the throwing. We weren't throwing the ball that much, and we were able to do it successfully. That's what really changed the whole attitude and complexity of our game. We opened up our offense and were able to do a lot of different things. We could throw deep, we could get them to go deep, and then we could run at them, and then we could play action pass. So that really opened up a lot of avenues. A lot of our weapons were able to be pronounced in that respect.
So it's sort of a snowballing enthusiasm. I mean, guys just sort of feel freed up to do what they can do.
Right, exactly. And then when you have the freedom to do what you want, and when I was calling my own plays back in those days, it was pretty fun.
What typically when you called your own plays, what were you looking to do?
Well, a lot of it was a matchup. And we'd match receiver to defensive back to a running game to different personnel, and depending on how they play their defense, if they were looking against the run, we'd throw. If they were looking for pass, we'd run. So it was the element of surprise, basically, and that's what Ray Malavasi had pretty much instilled in our offense. He knew exactly what type of plays worked well against certain defenses because he was defensive-minded. So that helped our offense in preparation, and we were able to exploit those kind of mismatches through play calling.
When you typically called your own plays, were you looking for something conservative or aggressive? Were you a risk taker along those lines?
We were a ball control offense, basically. Okay. We tried to pick up the first down if it was down and distance oriented. So if it's first down, it's pretty much open play calling, and second and third down. Third down was the most probably critical down that we had to be very specific and very strategic about what kind of plays we were going to call and how we were going to get the first down.
Can you talk about the effect on the franchise after the move to Anaheim and what you think that did to or for the Rams, how it just affected them in general?
Well, I think it was a letdown for the Coliseum and the people around Los Angeles, but again, it was welcoming from the people in Orange County to accept the Rams coming to town, and it was a brand new feel. It was a new arena. It was a new beginning. We were still Southern California. We were still the Los Angeles Rams, but now playing in Anaheim. So I think we responded well for that on that surface. I know when I played on that surface, it was fast. We liked it. There was a lot of good things. We had great fan participation, and fans from Los Angeles also came to see us. So we were supported. We never had a problem with fan attendance.
My guest, Vince Ferragamo, quarterback for the LA Rams in the 80s, perhaps could be an observer of the LA Rams 12, 13. We'll see what could happen. What would it mean, Vince, for football to come back to Los Angeles?
Oh, I think it's everything. The best place to have the team is actually where we envision in downtown LA, and I think next to the Staples will be a very exciting venue. It's basically right across the street from where we're at right here, and we do need a team in Los Angeles. What it would do for the job growth in California and create a lot of business. It would create a lot of revenue for the local vendors, and it'd just be great for the NFL to have a team in Los Angeles.
Who are some of the quarterbacks that you like in today's game?
Well, of course, Tom Brady is the one that comes to mind. When you look at a quarterback, you look at the offense that they're playing with, and I like the strategic, the plan of the offense. In college football, I like to look at Boise State. I really like that open offense. It's very strategic, and they're planning. In the pros, a lot of it is the same. And I really look first to New England because of how they strategize on offense, and everything is predicated around certain formations, certain types of play calling, certain personnel matchups. And of course, Peyton Manning runs the entire show. If he ever gets back, well, again, I know he's hurt this year, but he's always been one of the top at the very top list. And Drew Brees, Drew Brees is really another talented guy, and winning a Super Bowl. And now you got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is just very calm. And I think the one thing that I notice as a quarterback is the cool and calmness of the quarterback under pressure. And when you see that, that's the mark of a great quarterback.
It should be noted too, Vince mentioned Tom Brady. Opening Monday Night Football, I should say, 517 yards for Brady. It's very good. Vince Ferragamo, however, December 26, 1982 against the Bears, 509 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's
not bad.
I was going to say, that's pretty good, too. It should be noted.
That was a big day. It was in Anaheim against the Bears. Yeah, the Bears had a good defense, and we were always behind. We didn't win that game, but, always coming from behind, kind of you have to throw the ball. So we were throwing the ball almost every down. So not necessarily looking to break any records, but just to win the game. And, at the end of the game, 509 at that time was the second highest, which I was notified late in the game that I was approaching a record. I go, well, what record is that? So, right. But it was a fun day, a thrilling day. But the only thing that could have been better is if we'd have won that game.
Sure.
That's the game that Walter Payton broke the all-time rushing record. So
wow.
They gave him a ball at the second half for that.
That's crazy, actually, that he broke the rushing record in that game. So the 509 yards sort of becomes
another record.
Exactly. That's crazy.
Yeah, that must secondary to that.
Must have been an amazing game.
Yeah. A lot of records.
How often do you watch that one?
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on. He didn't need that many yards to break the rushing record that day,
right.
but they were able to beat us by running the football and making some plays in the air. But the only way we could come back is by throwing the ball in that game.
Last question for you. You've been involved, among other businesses since football, in the wine industry.
Right.
And this could help out a lot of people with their tailgates.
Sure.
Not today maybe, but moving forward. Give me the perfect wine to pair with a steak, and also maybe just like a mild whitefish.
Well, you got 2 different type of wine pairings there. The whitefish depends on what kind of fish and what kind of preparation you're going to use. If it's sautéed with any kind of tomatoes, you could use something, even a rosé of sorts. If it's a salmon, a rosé, a white wine could be any of the Italian whites, Verdicchio, Vernazia. There's so many white wines, Soave Classico, there's Pinot Grigio. But a white wine typically is lighter. It's in style. It's acidic, so it's lighter, and it marries well with the light fish, the white fish with the white wine. And the red, when you call it red meats, there's a lot of different combinations you can choose. If it's a heavy meat, and if it's a rare cooked meat, then you probably go with a Cabernet, a heavy, bold wine.
Okay.
Maybe a Malbec from Argentina is a really nice wine. You can even go Tempranillo if you're a Spanish lover and you love the Spanish wines from Rioja or Ribera del Duero. They've got some great wines in Spain that are very good. Brunello de Montalcino if you want to spend more money, and a Tuscan red. Tuscany is known for their meats, and they like their pork and their bolognese kind of sauces with red sauces. So any of the Chianti Classicos. Sangiovese typically is one of the best food pairing wines there is, and so you have the Chianti Classicos obviously, and Brunello is kind of a clone of a Sangiovese but a little heavier wine. So if you ask me, I'd have to say a Brunello de Montalcino. So.
This man knows what he's talking about. Vince Ferragamo, LA Rams quarterback, guest of the Trojan Corner. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate
it.
Thanks,
Andy.
The institution we have to do is the right thing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, buddy.